Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a quick message before you start learning your letters. So make sure when you learn your letters, you learn one line at a time. So one line at a time. So when you can say the first line correctly, then you move on to the second line. Once you can say the second line perfectly, then what you do, you practice both lines together. So then you practice the first line and then you practice the second line. Once you know these two lines perfectly, then you move on to the third line. And you keep on saying it until you know it perfectly. And then once you know the third line properly, then you start from the beginning again. Then you get tested on the first line, second line, and third line. Once you know these three lines, then you do the fourth line, and then you start again from the top. Then you do all four lines together. And then the fifth line and the sixth line the same way. So make sure you know all the letters perfectly. There shouldn't be any mistakes in your letters. You need to make sure you memorized it perfectly before moving on to the next page. Okay, so now once you can read all your letters perfectly, so let's say starting from the top, you can read alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha, dal, dal, ra, etc., etc. What you need to do next is now read it backwards. Start from the opposite side. Jim, tha, ba, alif, ra, dal, dal, kha, ha, like that, and do the whole qaida like that. So the whole alphabet like that. Once you can do that perfectly, then do it another way. So start from the top, so start from alif and then go down. So like this, alif, ha, za, ta, qaf, waw, ba, kha, like that. So when you can do that, that means you know your letters perfectly. And then you can obviously move on to the next page and the next page. So only when you know your letters like this, without even thinking, by the way, so another thing I need to mention, if you need to stop and think what letter it is and how to say the letter, then you still need a lot more practice. Only when you can say the letters without even thinking, when you can say the letters without thinking, you can say them correctly, that's when you know the letters. So if you're still having to think, oh, what's this? And you're scratching your head and it takes you about couple of seconds and then you get to the answer, no, it's too slow. Your letters need to become automatic. Once you know them automatically, that means you know your letters. So before that, if you're still you don't know automatically, make sure you keep on practicing. Even if it takes you an entire month learning these letters, it's worth it. Make sure you don't move on to the next pages before you know your letters first.